So you guys really seem to like that video where I took a starter, right? Just kind of a hello world type project, jumped into Claude Code and started to build something from scratch. So I figured we could do that again. In this app, what we're going to be doing is building just a voice transcription app. So you might have heard of apps like Super Whisper. I think there's another one just called Whisper with like a weird spelling. And really all these apps do is they take whatever the voice input was, and then they output a transcription that's easy to copy and paste into prompts. Like if you're using Cursor or Claude Code, those would be really useful to have just like a voice input with, right? So what we're going to build is a voice transcription app, right? So that's all it's going to do. It's going to transcribe it in a nice format. We could add some extra commands to it too, which is pretty cool that you can do that internally. But let's just jump in. You're going to see that I already have a very similar starter of what we had in the previous video, so feel free to watch that. We have components, we have a sapling project, right? So if you're not familiar with sapling, it's a framework that I built that is kind of wrapping around Hono. You probably have heard of Hono. It's a great backend framework. And the idea is it's just trying to keep things simple. It's really easy for LLMs to understand and build small starter projects with. You can obviously expand and turn it into something else if you want, because again, it's kind of built off of standards. It's not really doing a whole lot of special things under the hood. But what you're going to see is that we have our pages, right? It's just our home page. We have our styles. And this is what's different about this particular starter is I started experimenting with Tailwind rather than Uno CSS with Sapling. Tailwind with Sapling seems to be a pretty good combo if you're willing to deal with the build step, right? Like you still have to convert those Tailwind styles manually to a CSS style sheet at the end of the day, right? And that's okay on a lot of app type projects to have a short build step that converts the styles. So let's go ahead and get our server running. We're going to do npm run dev. And you're going to see here that this dev command, it runs a CSS command and it runs a sapling server command. And it runs those together. So you can actually see in the logging with this concurrently project or this concurrently package that it is running those simultaneously together. And all that does is really like if I go and change some, like let's go ahead and run localhost 8080 here. And let's change our counter button to BG white, right? And if I save that, you can see that it refreshed really fast. If we refresh, obviously an ugly white on white button, but yeah, you kind of get the idea that the server is now running and paying attention to those changes. It's watching the changes. I'm going to have a bunch of starters for saplings so you can really mix and match whatever tool sets you want to. But I'm trying to keep things simple for beginners, trying to keep things really simple for people that aren't familiar with all of these tools. And maybe really all you know is HTML, CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript. So let's jump into it. Like I said, this is just a voice transcription app and I've got Claude Code running already. Feel free to get your bearings around this app's architecture. At counter is going to be a good example of how we want to do interactive components. Our goal is to make a voice recorder. Let's start with that, just the recording aspect. So this is similar to our previous video, voice recorder component. It should use the browser to record the voice of the user. And they can play it back. So let's start with that. I'm sure there's some typos in there. And that's what these types of tools are useful for, because I could have just voice transcribed that. And really the idea around this video is you're going to start seeing me use this particular project. I might add some things to it, update the design a bit, but you could go back and watch this video and see how I built a tool that I use every day. I've built another version of this already that I use kind of internally, but I figured it'd be cool to kind of show people, you know, you have this concept, you have this idea, you're like, man, I could build something like that. Maybe I want a custom version of it. And you really can. With these tools like Claude Code and a little bit of experience, you can build your own version of whatever these tools that you're thinking of. So we're going to say yes and don't ask again. It's kind of a dangerous thing to do, but we're in vibe code mode, right? I had a funny comment recently that they were very upset that I was using the term vibe coding. Unfortunately, that's just the term. If you don't like that term, I'm sorry. I get it. It kind of is a little bit of a slap in the face to people that have been building software by hand for years and years, like myself, but it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. So get over it is basically what I'm saying. Okay, so cool. I've created a voice recorder component. Let's go ahead and refresh. Let's say get all we should have on the home page is the recorder. And I obviously could delete those manually, but that's okay. So let's test it real quick. It's going to ask for permissions. I'm going to use the mic that I'm using right now. Hopefully that's okay. Testing 1, 2. Okay, recording ready. Testing 1, 2. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hear that back, but I did hear my voice. I heard that quick recording. So that's awesome. We have a very simple recorder working. And if I refresh, there's our change. Claude in the background was making those changes. So we have our voice recorder centered. That's great. So now what we need to do is, you probably saw this in a previous video or that previous video I've been talking about. We want to transcribe it. So there's a lot of options for transcription models. My personal favorite right now is still Gemini. It seems to be the most accurate. That's all they do. And the cost comparison can be similar. It just depends on how you're using these models. But I really do like Gemini, and the cheapest model that they have, or the cheapest smart model that they have, this 2.5 flash light, is great at translation, summarization, right? So there are these 2.0 models as well, and they do pretty well. 2.0 flash would be good. 2.0 flashlight might not be what you expect for voice transcription, but you could try that out. So all I did is go to ai.dev, and you're going to get an API key, right? So we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so after you get your API key, you're going to go back into your project and you're going to create a file called .env. That's a env variable that you can pass into your project and kind of keep things secret. You want to keep those API keys protected. Let's go to documentation up there in the top right, and we're going to scroll down and we are going to click on audio understanding right here. And then over on the right, you have get a transcript. So we are going to literally just go and copy paste this over to Claude. We want a new API endpoint that uses Gemini in this way to transcribe our audio we recorded. This is what's amazing about Claude Code and modern coding agents. They really don't need a lot of context because they're just really smart at the types of workflows that people are doing these days. And you're going to see pretty quickly that it understands, okay, we need to create an API endpoint. We need to install the Gen AI dependency, and then we need to update the voice recorder to send that audio to be transcribed. So yes, we want to install at Google/GenAI. And if we go to package.json, we should see that at Google/GenAI. That looks great. And this is just our index.tsx file. That's where the API actually is happening for our project. So you have const site. I like to call this site, but you could call it whatever you want. You could call it app, which is fine. API transcribe is what it's working on right now. Yeah, drops it into a temporary file to save the audio. And that's probably okay. There are different ways that you could do that. You could pass the raw audio data to that. ai.files.upload is what we gave it for an example, and it decided not to do that. So we'll give this a shot and see what it does. Now it's working on our voice recorder component. It's working on the is transcribing. value right there. What you're going to notice on our voice recorder component too, if you go and look at it, you have a script and then an HTML tag. So you can write just a nice clean script tag. And then that, if you scroll down, gets passed into this template tag. So Sapling Island. You can go watch my sapling crash course if you want to learn more about how this works, but just a really clever way to use vanilla JavaScript, just plain JavaScript, no React or Svelte or anything like that in your browser, right? And you can use just the JavaScript that you need for that specific component. And in this case, the voice recorder. What I'm going to do is refactor just a little bit. And I could have done this at the beginning. I just decided not to, probably so we could talk about it. We're going to go to the static folder and then components. We're going to create a new file. We're going to call this the same exact thing, voice recorder.js in this case. Move the script tag to voice recorder.js. That's what we're going to tell it. And it's even telling us as it finishes that up, you need to make sure you have an API key. And we called that, I called it Gemini _API _key. We could create a new file. I'll show you what that looks like. .example Gemini _API _key, just like that. So that will be checked in the source files. If you want to go back and look at the source code, obviously you need to rename that to .env. You need to paste in your own env key. Move the script tag to voice recorder.js and then just call /components/voice recorder.js in the script of the component. While that's working, I'm going to show you manually what that's doing. So you can see that we have an inline script on this counter. That was the counter that you saw at the beginning. What we're going to do is literally just go here and cut that out, the contents of the script. We're going to create a new file called counter.js and paste that in. And then we're going to get rid of all of that because we don't need it anymore. And we're going to go template/template, just like that. So just a template area, script type module. And we're going to do source equals /components/counter.js. So Claude hopefully should be doing the exact same thing, but for our voice recorder. So if we go back to voice recorder.tsx, okay, I mean, this would effectively do the same thing, but what we're going to do is simplify it even more. Gonna get rid of all of that. And cursor, this is the reason I pay for cursor. The autocomplete is watching what you're doing. It notices those patterns, and just in one tab, you get the same exact result that you're wanting. So, and the reason I'm doing that is just to clean up the component. Sometimes when those inline scripts, they're great for something small, but sometimes you have more logic, right? That voice recorder.js is getting pretty big because it's handling quite a bit. And we just moved it to just a plain old JS file that the component calls right there. So what's nice is it only calls it when it needs it though. So let's do testing 1 2. Can you hear me, Gemini? Okay. Transcribe. Failed to transcribe audio. That's okay. Let's go back to our server and see if we got any errors. Okay, got get client, could not load default credentials. Okay, so let's kill the server. This is my fault. We're gonna go back up, npm run dev. And I think that's just because the env files are not loaded. Let's go ahead and refresh. That might not actually work. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Gemini, can you hear me? Okay, transcription failed. Let's go back. We're probably going to get the same error. Term client could not load default credentials, right? So let's go back to Claude and say, we need to load the .env file for Gemini. It should understand that we need a package for loading env files. This is something, because I'm using Node in this example, you have to actually install something. You have to install a package for .env files. With Dino, you don't. It's just built in. So you probably have seen in some other videos, I like to default to Dino. It's just my favorite for reasons like this, right? You just need less things installed in order to have your project running. But I know people are familiar with Node, so I'll be doing a lot of videos with Node as well. So let's do record. Testing 1 2. Gemini, can you hear me? To record, testing 1 2. Jim and I, that's funny. Can you hear? And it cut off. Okay. That's great. I mean, we have transcription, so that's awesome. Let's remove the ability to play back audio. We don't need that. So there you go, voice recorder, recording ready. This is awesome, right? Like you effectively have I don't know how long we've been recording, maybe 25, 30 minutes. You have the concept done, right? You could literally just go and use this app, copy and paste what you said. We could probably improve these recordings quite a bit too. I'll show you some fun ways that you can improve that. But right now, just cleaning up some of our playback recorder. So remove play button references. Okay, that's good. Testing 1 2. Gemini, can you hear me? Okay, cool. So now I want to add a system prompt to the transcribe. The idea is we want to have the model automatically punctuate and remove filler words such as like, etc. So it should understand from that our idea here. We want to make sure it's not just a transcription, but it's also very useful, right? Generated transcript of the speech, return only transcript text. So it was a pretty simple system prompt. Right now what it's doing is improving that naturally as if it were written text, not spoken word. That seems legit. Okay, let's refresh. Testing 1 2. What's the weather in Boise, Idaho? There you go. Testing 1 2. What's the weather in Boise, Idaho? So it removed those ums and ahs that I purposely put there. Maybe not totally purposefully, but yeah, so that's awesome. Now let's add a simple copy button in the top right of the end result transcription. It should copy automatically as well after transcription. So you wouldn't necessarily have to add a copy button. I like to have both, so it automatically copies, or if for whatever reason I was copy pasting a bunch of things, I have the automatic, or I have the manual one to go back to. So should be a pretty simple change. And we are going to get rid of the title and the recording ready as well. Cool, we got a copy button. Switches to copied. If we paste, cool. Now let's try it again. Hey, what's the weather in Boise, Idaho? Okay, paste. So it automatically copies and pastes. That is awesome. Exactly what we want. Now, let's see. This is the one thing I can't Command A with a Claude Code. It's kind of frustrating. Classic terminal UIs. Let's remove the header and the recording state text. Okay. Just cleaning up some of the UI a little bit. And let me go back to our base head. I want to see, yeah, so on this starter, I didn't include Iconify. My personal favorite icon set, icon tool is called iconify.design. You can look it up yourself. Iconify is what it's called. But what we want is to install the Iconify API. Let's see, CDN. Registering the web component. Okay, cool. So right here, we're going to copy, not using bundles or want that. We want this right here. And we're going to defer the script, update the icons on the recorder with Iconify icon web component. It should understand that this is pretty commonly used, this Iconify web component. Super useful way to just get some icons in your app with very minimal effort without like manually copying and paste them. That's kind of a pro tip here. Iconify icon is awesome. So yeah, you can see it's deleting SVGs and it's replacing with Iconify icon. So that's beautiful. We should see some icons actually show up a little bit better now. So yeah, that record icon is fixed now. We can actually take a screenshot of this. And I'm going to paste that in Claude. Fix the record button alignment. The icon is not centered. So it should understand we're talking about horizontal alignment on those two. Not properly centered. Cool. Screenshots are great for vibe coding. Screenshot often. That's my advice. Just like that. With a refresh, we've got it fixed. And it's probably fixing up some other icons as well with that same fix. For some reason, it's doing style display. It's doing like an inline style, which is fine. It's not a big deal. And Claude should be almost done. Refresh. So the stop icon, let's take a picture of that. It should have caught all of that in theory. See, it went to different lines too because of the long pauses. That's pretty cool. Yeah, we've got a transcript working. Transcribe. Transcribe doesn't have an icon for some reason. And that's the other cool thing about Iconify. So you can go to iconify.design. You can click this little icons link right here. And there are thousands, tens of thousands of icons available to you. So we could do transcribe or like paper or edit or something like that. Let's jump into material, transcribe. So you could just go here, drop in, like copy that icon name, update the transcribe button with this icon and paste. So super useful. I mean, you can see like you don't have to copy all of the actual icon code. You just have an icon name to worry about. So play around with that. Change it to whatever icons you want. Well, we don't see the icon, so let's see if we can figure out why. I think I figured out what's happening. So you'll notice that it replaced the button after we stopped the recording. So the entire button including the icon, was replaced after I stopped the recording. So Claude should be able to figure that out pretty fast. It's like, oh, I replaced the entire thing after stopping the recording, which is not what we want to do. We don't want to replace the entire button. We just want to replace the text. Pretty simple mistake, but I'm sure with enough yelling at the model, it would have figured it out. It helps to debug the way that a developer would, though, right? Understanding I can go look at the file. I can go look at the actual HTML in my browser and match them one-to-one and just start using the thing that you're building. Testing 1, 2, can you hear me? Sweet. So there's our transcribe button. Let's transcribe it. Perfect. Let's take this one step further and no longer need the transcribe button. Let's stop the recording and then automatically transcribe and show the transcript. So this should clean up the code quite a bit because we're going to be skipping some manual steps. But yeah, that's the idea, is we should be able to start the recording, take a quick recording, hit stop, and then see the transcript, and it's already in our clipboard. I know it seems like a simple concept, right? But it's a somewhat complex tool when you start really thinking about the ins and outs of what it needs to do in terms of switching states, right? So we are almost done. Or Claude is almost done, I should say. Okay, cool. So it had a little hiccup state there where there was nothing showing. Let's add a little piece of text or a loading spinner while it's transcribing. So we'll add another little nice feature there so you can actually see that it's doing something while it's transcribing. Just kind of reading the code as it goes. Pretty straightforward. Just a little transcribing status that it watches. Let's refresh. Hey, Gemini, can you tell me what the weather is in Boise, Idaho? Sweet. And that should be, let's go to Claude, paste. And yeah, it's not Gemini in this case, it's Claude, but yeah. We have a vibe coding voice transcription app. We built it with vibe coding and you can use it for vibe coding. So hopefully that was helpful to you guys. Maybe it feels a little bit long-winded, but I've kind of gotten some feedback from people that this is what they want to see. They want to see developers, experienced people that know how a lot of these things work, build with your vibe code, right, with these tools. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of just building concepts, building useful tools. And you're obviously getting a lot of coding knowledge by watching this, I hope. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe, all that stuff, and hope to see you in the next one. Peace.